Hey, friends and followers of NEDRP. We are excited that you tuned in this Wednesday for our message. I just really wanted to speak very candid to you today. This is a really, really difficult time in education, and I believe that our educational leaders are having to make some really, really tough decisions. Most of you know that we are based out of Texas, and so Texas has, in the last 72 hours, has become a hotspot. And so I think teachers and parents and students are anxious to try to find out how schools are going to reopen. And it's so interesting because in our world, we think reopen means like just like you closed last year, and we're thinking reimagine. So the reimagined classroom that school districts are trying to determine how to open safely with all parties taken into consideration, there's decisions that seem to be changing every single day. And so, our thoughts and prayers go out to those school leaders that are having to make those tough decisions about how to keep those kids and those teachers safe when they come back into the school system. And is it even safe yet? Texas being such a hot spot, we're on the rise of COVID-19 and we're turning into one of those quarantine states. And so ultimately that we know that all eyes are on many states, but here in Texas, our eyes are on our leaderships in TEA and our governor to help us guide us with decisions on opening the schools and the best decisions. And so as we make those decisions about how to reopen schools and reimagine what a new classroom in a building is going to look like, whether that will include social distancing, whether that will include online virtual learning, or a hybrid of those, smaller classes, social distancing, whether masks are required or recommended. I mean, there's so many factors to take into consideration. So I just wanted to take a moment to say, after we go through all of the safety concerns, because safety is a huge concern right now in everybody's mind, and we definitely want to make sure that that is a priority as we get back into our reimagined schools. But I just want to take a moment to remind school leaders that as you're preparing for so many initiatives to support this along with safety, you're thinking of other initiatives that your teachers and your students are going to be needing to be able to be successful post-pandemic in the classrooms, virtually or in person. And so you're going to be considering things like social emotional learning, trauma-informed practices, mindfulness, culture diversity, race. I mean, there's so many things, along with the typical content and the things that you're going to help you want the students to academically be successful. So my urge and my prayers and my thoughts go out to those leaders of school districts. But as you're making those crucial decisions, I just want to remind you that don't forget, after safety first, that a foundation of relationships is so important and key in either environment, whether we're virtually or we're back into the classroom, right? And it's amazing if you go on to so many different quotes and you can see so many different things about how we're constantly reminded of how important the foundation of relationships are in the classroom. And we know for the last 5 years, that's been one of our fortes is coming back into the classroom and helping teachers, reminders of building and sustaining relationships in the classroom. And I just really want to remind those educators and those leaders, as you're grabbing those initiatives of social emotional learning, culture and diversity, race, content, mindfulness, those types of things, trauma informed practices, just remember that a majority of those come in a lesson based curriculum format. It, and I think we all could agree as educators that we need to lay down a rock of relationships before we put anything else on that. I mean, even as individuals right now, it's hard to have a difficult conversation about race or culture or diversity or anything that's going on in our world, inside our schools or outside of schools, without some type of connection. So I think we all know that connections are not just vital, they're important, but they're key to helping us grow successfully as we grow post pandemic in a reimagined classroom. And so, I just put up a couple quotes today because I just want to take a message to remind leaders. As you're canceling professional developments or moving things on, we understand safety. I just want schools to remember, no matter who you choose and how you do this, don't forget to find a way to build in relationships for your students and for your staff. You need campus connections because adults are going to be pushed to no limits going into next year. And then you're going to need those classroom connections. And if you've been to most of our trainings, you've always heard us at James Comer's quote about no significant learning occurs without a significant relationship. And so I'm just urging schools and just reminding them today with a quick message that as you prepare for next school year and you have a lot on your plate, our thoughts, our hopes, our prayers go out to those. But I also just want to remind you that a lesson-based curriculum does not build relationships, it blends them. And if we're truly saying as educators today that we've got to make a priority of building relationships, we've said this, connect before content, connect before correct. We're laying a foundation of connections, then don't forget that a majority of the initiatives that you're choosing and picking to work on for next school year, after you get those safety concerns hopefully put into place, are going to be based or lesson based. And those lesson based curriculums blend relationships, including social emotional learning, blend relationships, and don't always set the foundation of building your school on a rock of relationships. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in today. I hope you stay safe and we'll see you soon.